Hey, good evening. Good evening. This is Renee Williams, and I am back again. After Friday, we had a good session of finding our way back, and today we on my favorite step. My favorite step that guided me to the other steps, and the other step that helped free me. So let me open up to the God of my understanding to say thank you. Thank you for helping everyone. Thank you for the ones that's still struggling, finding their way back. Thank you, God, for opening doors that many thought was closed. Thank you for freeing us from this addiction and keeping a closed mind on ourselves and wanting to do better, to get better, to find better. And we thank you, my God, my God. Okay, hey, everyone. I am Renee Williams. To my Facebooks and to my YouTube peoples and everyone across the world. Thank God for, I want to give thanks to the shelters and to the outpatient and inpatient, and give thanks to the recovery houses for women's and men's. And I thank you. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that you was around when I came in. Hey, Latrice. Hey, Miss Johnson. Hey, and I wanted to thank y'all so very much. Thank you for my viewers that come on. Thank God for the therapists, the counselors. You talking about all over the world. All over the world we talk about, reaching out to one another to help another addict get themselves together and get clean. And to the counselors and to my favorite counselor, which was Sterling White. I've always kept him in my life because he was a part of my process and helped me get to where I am today. Thank you for all the phone calls and emails. I was really sick for about a week with that cleansing flu. And today I finally, got up. I didn't go to church today because I kept going to the bathroom. So now I am pulling myself together and getting my strength back. But thank y'all for the emails and phone calls. Okay, and to my favorite fans on here, my viewers and everyone that comes support me, and I'll support you in anything that you need. I've always been there, just a phone call away. Remember that, just a phone call away. We are on my favorite step. One more thing. I need to give a shout out to the ones that lost their loved ones to addiction. I lost a son to an addiction. My sister lost a son through, my nephew through it to addiction. And as many of y'all lost kids and loved ones and mothers and fathers and sons and daughters to overdoses and to that horrible addiction. That's why I tell you, I hate this disease. And when I say that, I truly mean that. And the reason I truly mean that, because I'm on here every week, twice a week. And I thank God for delivering me. I thank him for delivering you all. Thank y'all for wanting to even come on here and learn about the steps. I want to thank y'all for having a spirit to do right and do better and to change your life, because we getting older. We ain't getting no younger. You know that, right? Okay, so now, this is my favorite step. This is the step that started it all. This is the step that got me from where I'm at today, from 1 to 12. And I love these steps. And every time I go to a step, it reminds me of how far I came from and where I'm going. And my destination is going to be great. Your destination is going to be great. Only if you be true to thyself. You have to be true to thyself in this program. Because in this program, if you ain't true to yourself, you end up losing. You end up relapsing. You end up staying back out there. Or the next thing, you end up dying. I hate this disease. So we are on step 1. It says we admitted that we were powerless over our addiction. Now I'm gonna stop there at that part. At that part, this part got me. This part really got me. It says we. It didn't say nothing about I. In order to work this program, we all going to have to do the same thing with this step. It says we admitted. Yeah, we admitted that we were powerless over our addiction. That part got me. Because I had to get to a point, hey, Cynthia Robinson, hey, Belinda, good to see y'all. Now, that part got me. It says we, as unity, as peoples, we admitted that we were powerless over our addiction. Now, why did we have to get to the we? Come on, Renee. Why did we have to say we? It didn't say I. It says we. You know why it says we? Because he knew it was going to be a whole nation full of peoples. A whole nation full of peoples that was going to be on the same thing. We all was going to have to admit that we are powerless over our addiction. That means we ain't got no control. That means we keep trying to figure it out, keep running from it. We keep getting into bad situations. We keep getting into things that sometimes we didn't think we was going to get out of. But we admitted. I admitted it. I'm admitting it to you. Every time I get on here and talk to y'all, I'm admitting that I am who I am, and I am powerless over drugs, over my addiction. You cannot win with no kind of drug. Alcohol, pills, heroin, Oxycontin, fentanyl, Adderall. You can't win with no drugs. That ain't the purpose for us to use it. The purpose for the disease of an addiction is to cause us chaos and to crumble in our lives and don't see no other way out. I'm talking what I know. Don't see no way out. I didn't see no way out. I've been using so long, I just didn't care no more. I didn't care. It was to a point to when it says, and we admitted it. I had to admit. I had to realize. I had to look into my deep soul and figure out, okay, Renee, you doing something that you can't even put down. You waking up in the morning thinking about that same drug that you couldn't put down. You go to bed thinking about the same drug and the same alcohol and the pill that you couldn't put down. So something is wrong. And now I understand why they say we. I understand that. Hey, Esther Laquita, I hope I'm saying it right, my girl. I see my auntie Wanda Bayless is on here. God, thank y'all so very much for being my support system. Do you understand me? And I am who I am. And in this thing it says, we, step one. That was the best one that started it all. You can't skip none of them. You got to go through the whole steps to identify and understand that where you at and where they going to show you what you need to do. It says we admit it. Okay, I'm admitting. I admitted it. I admitted to God. I had already been admitting it that I was powerless, that I had a problem. But I wasn't trying to do nothing to fix it. I wasn't trying to do nothing to help me out. I just kept using because it was a familiar place that I can go to escape away from any feelings that I was feeling. So I kept on using. And the reason it says we, that don't mean just me. It don't mean that nobody's included. Everybody is included. That has an addiction problem. Not just drugs, man. I had so many addiction problems. I tell people it ain't just about the drug. It's about the chaotic person that we become. It's about the way we start thinking. It's about the way we work with our thoughts and carry them out. You know, so when we said we admitted that we were powerless, yeah, I knew I was powerless. I knew I couldn't stop using, but did that stop me? No, it didn't. I kept on using. I just kept on using until the pain got greater and the pain got greater and the pain got greater. I kept making stupid mistakes. I kept doing things that caused me pain. I kept doing things that injured my health. I kept doing things that took me out of character, took me out of my personality. You know, now I'm living to use and use to live, and said that we were powerless. That means I don't care how many drugs you do. That don't mean what you do, how you do it. And addiction is an addiction. I had a sexual addiction. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing about when it came to sex. I was so torn up in the inside. I had to find some kind of relief. And so that other addiction, that same addiction that I was battling with the drugs and alcohol, then I turned it into another addiction. And that was sexual addiction. Man, just make me feel good. Because the way I'm feeling now, I'm drowning in the sea, in my own water. I'm drowning. So anytime I can go get sex, and I knew if I go get sex, I can get more money. And I knew if I got more money, I could get more drugs and stay high for another couple of days or a day. You know, so when it says we admit it. Yeah, I admit it. That I had a problem. And it wasn't just drugs and alcohol. But they do say that we were powerless over our addiction. We cannot win. I don't care how y'all try to fix it, mold it, how you try to, nationalize it. It ain't going to work. You can't win with drugs. If we could win with drugs, we wouldn't have no reason to have a 12-step of Narcotics Anonymous program. And give a shout out to 12 Steps, because 12 Steps a program saved my life. It saved my life. And I'm forever dedicated to the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. And that means AA for Alcohol Anonymous. CA is for Cocaine Anonymous. NA is for Narcotics Anonymous. All of the drugs. All of it. And we can't win with it. They said one is enough and 1,000. One is too many, 1,000 is never enough. That's the truth. One is too many and 1,000 is never enough. No matter how much we smoke, how much we drink, how much we try to hide, it's never going to be enough, because the addiction, the disease of an addiction is battling with us because we have no way out. We never found no solution. We just kept on using. We didn't care about the hurdles and we didn't care about the bumps. All we cared about was getting high. I'm talking about me. Hey, Stella. I'm talking about me. He said, we admit it. I didn't admit right there. I ain't gonna lie to you. I smoked and drank and as I kept on smoking and drinking and using drugs, I kept on gaining more addictions. On top of the biggest addiction. And that was the drugs, the alcohol, the pills, the acid, the fentanyl, the cocaine, the heroin. I tried that once and I thought I was flying in a car, and that was a done deal for me. That was just a too much high. I could never escape what I was escaping because I was too messed up off that. So I never tried that again. But we admitted that we were powerless over our addiction. Okay, come on, y'all. I admitted it. I told people, I wanted... I told people I wanted to stop getting high. I told people that I didn't want to continue to get high. I told people I was tired of being tired. But did I do anything about it? No, I made excuses. And that's one thing an addict could do. We make billions and billions of excuses why we can't stop, why we want to continue to get high. What does it does for me? Well, I can tell you what it did for me. It was bull crap. It made me figure out that it was an excuse for me to keep using. It was a familiar place. I can run. I can get high. I can drown in the drugs and the alcohol without feeling nothing. But one thing I did realize is that once I came back to reality, the same pain that I tried to escape, the same thoughts that were still in my head never left, and the same things that I was struggling with, it wasn't gone. So I was just getting high just to feel good, because it really wasn't doing nothing. I know it says we became powerless. I knew I was powerless because I couldn't stop. I was powerless over all my addiction. I ain't just talking about drug addiction. I was powerless over everything. I was powerless over who I had became. I was powerless over how I think and how I harbor resentments and how I hold on to stuff. See, I was this person that if you hurt me, oh boy, it wasn't no 2 months, 3 months. I was holding on to that. That fed me my drugs and alcohol. Holding on to pain helped me hold on to something that I could have an excuse to keep getting high. That's what I did. And it caused me more harm than it did anything. Because after the years of keep using, I started picking up more habits. I started picking up more addiction. And what? I hate this disease, because this disease will tell you that you're okay. This disease will tell you that don't nobody have to know. This disease will tell you can go and hide and isolate. This disease will tell you that you're just fine. Everything is okay. Everything is fine and everything is okay. But I realized that everything wasn't okay because I could not stop. I kept picking up other habits. So when it says we admitted that we were powerless, I didn't have no choice. Because the way my life was going, I was in rumbles. I was like a tornado that's turning and turning and turning and can never stop the spin. I had got addicted to the spin because I didn't want to let go of something that it was so familiar that I thought was good for me, that was helping me cure all the pain and all the hurt and all the misery I was feeling. And all we was doing was breaking me. That's it. That's what it was doing. Hey, Robin. Hey, that's it. I see my sister Selena Green is on here. Y'all go get some spiritual feeding for the spiritual soul on Tuesday night. Evangelist Selena Green, that's my sister, and she give you spiritual feeding, and I'm her biggest fan. She come on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Spiritual. Because see, this program is spiritual too. So we need that spiritual feeding along with our program. Because all this is spiritual. Don't get it twisted. All of it's spiritual. These steps are spiritual. All the books are spiritual. They all got God in them. And I get fed every Tuesday. And kept turning and turning. And then my life had got chaotic. I couldn't hold on to a relationship because my behavior wouldn't allow me to. I had a problem with attachment, So now I got addiction problems, personality problems, detachment problems, caretaking problems. I had a lot of addictions. And see, they want us to focus on the drugs and the alcohol, because once we put that in us, we become somebody that we're not. We admitted that we were powerless over our addiction. Like, look what it said, and that our lives have become unmanageable. What you say? Did my life become unmanageable? Oh, let me tell you how unmanageable my life became. I lived to use. I used to live. I lied about everything. I stole to get whatever I needed to get my choice of drug with. I stole it. I became a premeditated thinker. I got addicted to one of my addictions. I said one of them because I had multiples of addiction, not just drug and alcohol addiction. I'm talking about multiples addiction. And that's why I had to admit to a God of my understanding, I'm not just dealing, God, with the drugs and alcohol. I'm dealing what I created because of the drugs and alcohol. You know, and people want to say, where's the drugs and alcohol? No, yeah, it's that too. But it's us. Because I never know that for you to sit up and just think about drugs, it would appear in front of you. It wasn't that easy. I had to do some footwork to get some drugs. I had to do some footwork to get some alcohol. I had to do some footwork to get some pain pills. I had to do some footwork to get some syrup to take. You know, when addiction get that bad, we want anything that they can make us feel better than what we already feeling. So I had many addictions, and one of my addictions was one of that premeditated thinking. You know, thinking things one way and it ain't that way, but in our disease and active disease of an addiction, we pick up habits and we pick up problems and we pick up situations that we don't even want to control. We just want to hold on to the anger. We just want you to leave me alone. We ain't speaking. Leave me alone. You know, no, I ain't got no problem. See, we are the best deniers in the world. We are the best. We'll deny something to the end because of our addiction. And I know we admitted, when I admitted to God, you know, I was in a sad place when I started admitting to God and started thinking about the things that I was doing. I was in a vulnerable, a sad, a depression place. And I really still didn't see no way out. I didn't know about a 12-step program. I didn't know about no meetings. I didn't know about no sponsor. I didn't know about no service work. Hey, Michelle Weisner. Hey, baby. Good to see you. I didn't know about all that. All I know is that I was in a familiar place to take whatever I needed to take to escape the things that I was feeling and doing and becoming. Because I became many different people due to the addiction, due to my behaviors, due to the way I think. And then I had to realize, you know, I spoke on a couple weeks ago, we are more than our thought. Sure enough, we are more than our thinking and we are more than our thoughts. Because our dirty thinking and our dirty thoughts will get us in trouble. That's what kept me high. The dirty thinking and the dirty thoughts kept me wanting to stress and get high, wanting to be in that vulnerable place. But it says we admit it. I didn't want to admit to nobody. I didn't want to do that. That wasn't in this plan. My plan was just continue to get high and play hide and seek and hide. And nobody never knew I was on drugs. My kids didn't know I was on drugs for a minute. You can only do that for a while. And then it'll manifest itself. And then all of a sudden your characters and your behaviors and your actions, all is going to start coming out. And then you ain't got to hide it no more. It's well shown. People will pick it up. They'll start seeing the lion in you, the thief in you, the manipulated in you. They'll start seeing all the things that you once tried to hide from. Now it's face force. Now everybody see it. And I was in that place. I was in that place where it was familiar to me to hide what I was feeling. It was, being raped and held hostage and sex trafficking. Oh, come on, Renee. I had so many secrets that I was trying to hide from. I didn't want nobody to know my chaotic world. That's why I said our lives have become unmanageable. What you say, Renee? Your life became unmanageable. Many lives became unmanageable. It ain't just talking about me. I don't even want to feel like I got it like that. It ain't just talking about me. It's talking about we. It started off saying we admitted it. And I had to figure it out. I'm like, we And when I'm sitting in the meeting, I realize this is we, unity. This is us. This is people. This is all of us. We admitted that we all had to come to this step in this program in order to work a program that was going to benefit us. The only way a program didn't benefit you because you didn't work the program. The only reason why that you still out there using or you can't stay clean and you going back and forth, because you don't want to give up something that makes you feel good and you like to stay in that familiar place. Well, that familiar place for me was chaotic. It kept me in a place of darkness. It kept me in a place of I didn't even like me. It kept me in a place of I didn't love me. I didn't love nobody. I was selfish. I was self-centered. All I wanted to do was think about my using just for the day. I didn't care who I used, who I had to bump off, who I had to steal from. The most important thing was that addiction. That drug of addiction was important to me. I did whatever I had to do. I stooped down, bent over, everything you want to say, I did it just to get me another hit of some drugs and another drink. I didn't want to feel the pain I was feeling. I was carrying too much, but nobody hadn't understood. And then I couldn't tell mans I was dealing with because I found out through telling the man your personal feelings and your turnarounds and your bottoms, they'll turn around and use that against you. I had to learn that the hard way. So that made me close up. I couldn't trust nobody because I didn't trust myself. But we admitted. I got to a place in my life, we admitted that we were powerless. Why? Why would I admit that? Because I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop using. I couldn't pray it away. I couldn't think it away. All because my self-centeredness wanted to keep getting high because it was a familiar place that I can go into, that I can escape from. But then when I realized and I kept using and realized, man, all that using I did, all that money I smoked up, all the money I stole, everything that I did, I can't tell y'all everything that I did, all the penis that I sucked on. Hey, get ready, because it's the truth about me. I don't hold no punches. I did anything and everything to get my choice of drug. And I realized that, guess what? When I ran out and I didn't have no more drugs and I didn't have no money to buy alcohol, every now and then it make me look at myself and see I'm still in the same situation. I'm still carrying that same pain. I haven't faced my all my truth about myself. I've been hiding up under a shield. You know, I talked about another one. If you go on my site about, all the faces, all the different masks we wear. Because I was in that place. Different story, different people. Everybody tell their story different, but I tell mine that the way I seen it, what I went through. Not trying to agree with you, not trying to say, well, you shouldn't say this. Look, hey, this is my broadcast. And evidently it's working because people's a study coming and people's a study calling and I'm study helping people through do you think how through a broadcast, how you can meet many different peoples all over the world because we become a unity. It's all over the world. You got addicts all over the world. No matter what state you in, they struggling. They dealing with addiction just like I am, just like you are, or just like somebody else is. We admit it. I didn't want to admit to nothing. If I admitted it, then everything that I thought about myself and everything that I was going through is going to seem like it backfired. So I didn't want to admit. I wanted to keep using. I wanted to keep sneaking and using. I'm thinking I'm getting away. You think you playing hide and seek. You think you getting away with stuff, but you ain't getting away with nothing. All you doing is causing more chaos for yourself. And that's how our life become unmanageable. This whole thing says it right here. We admit that we are powerless over our addiction and that our lives have become unmanageable. How unmanageable did my life came? Let me tell you how manageable my life came. Where I used to stay away from drugs. Now I'm the biggest user. Hey, cousin Pamela. Pamela Morgan, good to see you. That's how my life become unmanageable. Because I started doing stuff. I started waking up in the morning thinking about how I was going to get the next hit. I knew then it was a problem. I couldn't stop. It says, we admit it. I didn't want to admit anybody to come in there and tell their story and tell you they didn't even want to recognize or stand up and say they was an addict. I remember going to a meeting and they said, who's an addict? I never said nothing. I didn't want to admit that. I couldn't even find a reason why that I was liking being in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous program. I thought all of them was bullshucking and driving. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to admit. I didn't want to shame myself, and I'm already been feeling embarrassed and shame and guilty, and so I didn't want to admit that. But it came to a point where my life got so unmanageable, I didn't have a choice. I stopped paying bills. I started making excuses. All my self-worth for the things that I said I would never do, I was doing it. I would never bring a man behind over my kids, but I did, whether it was in the garage, in the basement, wherever I can do it at to get me some more money for the next fix, I did it. So now I know my life had become unmanageable because my standards of what I used to be and how I used to think, it wasn't there no more. So my life I started to see my life crumble. I started to see my life become unmanageable. Like when the kids have a game, I used to be on the front row seat. I stopped. Where I used to pay my bills, write them down every month and pay my bills. I stopped doing that. So guess what? The bills wasn't getting paid. Paying my lights. As soon as I got clean and came out of treatment, they cut my lights off. So that lets you know when your life become unmanageable, the wreckage of your past will show up in the presence of you being clean. It will show up. The wreckage of your past will come back to the present. So don't let me trick you. Don't let nobody tell you that because you got clean, some of your past behaviors and your past things that you went through in the past won't show up in the present. Come through peoples, come through situations, or come through conversation. But the wreckage of your past sometime will creep up on you when you're in the presence of being clean. When you finding your way back. My life had become unmanageable. It says we. And I love that when I first looked at this step. I said, okay, I'm talking about me. So why couldn't this step just identify with me? Why couldn't it says I admit it? My premeditated thinking was trying to change the words in step one. Why didn't it say I instead of we? So I called after about a year, I got me a sponsor. I never talked to nobody. When I came in treatment, I didn't want to be there. When I went to a meeting, I didn't want to be there. So therefore, when I first came in, I kept my mouth closed because I didn't want to be there. I heard somebody tell me, stay until the miracle happens. I'm like, these people's crazy as hell. These people's crazy. What you mean, stay until you see the miracle happen? Coming in there all dressed up with their minks and their furs and they pretty gold in their mouth and their shoes and this look on their face as if they was happy and brilliant and looked like couldn't nothing touch them. I wanted it. I wanted everything I saw, but I didn't want what I had to do to get it to stay there. I didn't even want to be at a meeting. Until I heard this person say, keep coming back until the miracle happens. So then I tried to change that. What? It says we. Then I realized why I say we. I realized why I said we. Because we as unity of peoples all over the world are going through the same thing. Different story, different faces. Familiar behavior, familiar the way we think, The disease of an addiction don't treat nobody no different. It is known to make you not good. It is known to make you be many other people's. It is known. I'm just talking about me. You know, I had to carry this disease. I had to pretend. I had to put on masks. I had to isolate. I had to cry myself to sleep at night because I couldn't figure out why I couldn't stop using. And you know what I first came up with? The only reason why I couldn't stop using because I didn't want to. I wasn't ready to give up everything that I had put in me, everything that I had liked it about the drug. I didn't want to put it down. I wanted to keep it. You know, I can drink today and get high tomorrow. Or I can get high tomorrow and drink the next couple of days. I see all them drugs and alcohol I thought was my friend. That's the way the disease of an addiction will train you to think. That this is your friend, they're your friend, you're supposed to keep using until you dead, until your life had become so unmanageable to where you're going to fall, and then you is going to need some help to get back up. And I needed it because my life, we admitted that we were powerless. I had to admit, because everything that I was doing so well became so bad. Every thought had become so bad. The way I premeditated and sit down and think and held on to resentments and held on to hurt and held on to things that I thought was dear to me. You know, I had that crazy way of thinking that I thought God was personally attacking me. I thought God was personally letting me face death and going to my loved one's funeral, and I'm high as a jackbird, and I'm thinking I'm holding resentments against God. But then one minute I wanted to pray to him, then the next minute I wanted to diss him. I didn't want him because he let me go through this. He let me go through all the hurt and the pain that I couldn't seem to get away from. And the only way I could get away from it was using drugs and alcohol for a minute. For a minute. We admitted that we were powerless. I had to admit I couldn't keep doing this. Ain't nowhere in the world I was going to keep living and even to sit here and talk to you about it, because this addiction was bad. Anytime you steal from your own mother, anytime you do some ungirly things that you do, it's unmanageable. Anytime that you go to your job and you only want to go to steal so you can get some more drugs, your life has become unmanageable. Anytime you sit up and won't talk to nobody because of something that they said was true and you want to hold on it, and we are the best deniers in the world, you want to hold on to it, that means your life has become unmanageable. Anytime that you go and you think about not touching that drink, and that drink been sitting there all day long, and all of a sudden you realize it's been sitting too long, I need to pick it back up, your life has become unmanageable. Anytime that you don't pay your bills and you don't pay the important, unnecessary things for your house, when you ain't even got a roll of tissue paper. And you know, back then when I was using, tissue paper was, I believe, 12 cents. Then it went to 25 cents. I didn't even have 25 cents to get me a roll of tissue paper. My life had become unmanageable. Anytime that I had to have no food, you know, because of the food stamps, or because of the money I had, I choose to get high with, and then trying to figure out how I was going to feed my kids. But I had an auntie on here, one of the betas that's on here right now, that if I didn't lie and manipulate, I could just tell her that I didn't have no food for the kids, and she'll give me the money and sort it out to me and give it to me. My life had become unmanageable. unmanageable. So now the reason why I said your life become unmanageable, because now you can't even identify who you are no more. Now you have become the liar. You have become the manipulator. You have become the divider. You have become a bald-faced, dressed-up lie. You become this ugly person that you didn't even like, because you done picked up all these character defects, all these behaviors. That's why they says we admitted that we were powerless, because we did the things that people just don't do if they're not using drugs and alcohol. But if you using with this disease of an addiction called drugs and alcohol, you're gonna feel the wrath of your life becoming unmanageable. I love this step. This step helped me. It helped identify the reason why we all needed this. It wasn't just one person to be singled out. It was we. We all agreed that our lives have become unmanageable. Man, I used to do the crazy stuff, up under my addiction. I remember telling y'all that one time I did so many things. I remember one time I was getting ready to go to work and I was high as hell, and I thought my eye was bothering me, and let me tell y'all, my life become unmanageable. And I remember thinking I'm finna put some Visine in my eye or whatever, and I ended up putting the crazy glue in my eye. And went to work with one eye open and one eye closed. Worked for the government for 42 years. And they told me, Renee, you can't work. You got to go home. Girl, you got one eye open and one eye, and you running these powerful machines, these industrial big machines. We was making army sandbags, army gloves, army pouches, army hat. And I thought I was going to get on that insane person that I'm telling you about, that insane person that I told you that picked up characters and defects and self-centeredness. All this was in me. My life had become so unmanageable to where I got paid one day, I smoked it up. To where the next day, I didn't have a dime. And that's where the chaotic behaviors came in. That's where the things that you could never pay me to do, Renee to do that. Renee, I did it. So we admitted. I had to admit to God. I'm admitting to you all right now, telling y'all that the only way that we gonna win in this recovery is don't use. No matter what. I know Pam and Wanda and some more people's on here. We done buried our loved ones, our dads, our mothers, our kids. But through it all. But I told y'all about when I lost my mother. I wanted to use. That was that escape plan. I don't care how many years you got. I don't care how many decades. And I had three of them, three of them at the time. Let me tell you something. When you up against the wall, and my mother done died. Now, if I'm working a program, I know I got to admit to God how I'm truly feeling, because God, the way I'm feeling right now, if I could just get a hit. Remember, I thought we are more than our thoughts and our thinking. If I could just get a hit, how am I going to face this? How am I going to deal with this? God, how am I? All the character defects, all my behavior, all my defects of characters, I have taken control of. I've worked on things. But God, I'm scared, because now I'm finna go face something I ain't never had to face. And I have to go say goodbye to my mother. And how am I going to do this without no drugs and alcohol? When you're up against the wall, and the reason why challenges come to our lives is not to degrade us, is not to shame us, is to make us more stronger than we ever been. We don't realize that then, but we realize after we done went through the hurt of burying my mother, then I had to turn around and bury my son. And my son died here in the house coming to visit from California. And then that's another hurt. Now I'm burying my mama, now I got to bury my son. I said, okay, God, why is you doing this? Look at all the service work I done did. Look at everything I done did. I done got my life together. I ain't using no more. I ain't playing with men's penises no more. I ain't lying to them. I ain't messing with nobody's husband no more. You know, okay, God, why is you doing all this to me? They said we had to admit, and that means you can admit to any time. You can admit at any time of the day or night. And I had to ask God, why is you doing all this? And people say you shouldn't question God. Well, people shut up because I question God all the time. And he give me an answer. I hate when people say you can't question God. That's what he there for. That's why he there. He there when you in trouble. He there when you don't understand. He there when you feeling hopeless. When you there when you don't understand why you can't stop using. Or why I've been clean all this time and I want to go back and use. Okay, now I know why I want to go back and use it. Because it's a familiar place to go to when I'm full of pain. And when you lose your mother, you full of pain. That outweigh everything. You lose a child, full of pain. Lose a brother or sister, full of pain. So I always, in my clean time, I had to question God all while I was driving. I said, God, now you know, I admit to you about everything. I talk to you about everything. But God, come on now. You know, the way I'm feeling, I'm scared. I don't even want nobody to know I'm scared. How can I have 3 decades? How can I have 3 decades and still scared? For one, you're human. 2, you can feel and see clearly now that you don't have the drugs and the alcohol in your body no more. So I had to get to place, I had to get in a place of even welcome all the problems that's going to come in our lives. We're going to have situations. It says we admitted that we were powerless. Okay, well, you know, I admitted that I was a powerless when I was sitting in Northwest General with all them other people, all them other crackheads, all them other alcohol. I admitted it then. I thought, no, I didn't. That wasn't because I went into treatment that I admit that I was powerless. That was just a part of it. But when I admit that I really meant what I said, that I was powerless, that's when I kept going to outpatient. Kept coming home, not using. Go back the next day to inpatient, not using. Come back home, go to a meeting, not using. Right then, I started realizing that I was knowing and finding my way to show me that I am powerless over my addiction. I can't continue to use because most addicts don't like to stop. We are very familiar with can't let go. We got to still hold on to the drugs, still hold on to the headache, still hold on to the hurt, still hold on to somebody that really don't want you. You still try to hold on. You know why? Because we never knew what our worth was. But I'll tell you one thing, when I got through with this step 1, and I never got through with it because I live step 1 every day of my life. I have to admit, when something is going on in my life, I have to talk to God or talk to a friend or talk to my mama, but mama ain't here no more. So that means me and God got to hold more conversation than we ever had. And I admit that I can't use. I just can't. Hey Tina, I can't. Hey Deanna, I can't. I can't ever use. Hey, y'all don't know what y'all don't know what a person go through y'all don't know what a person go through to stay clean. Y'all don't know. If you ain't been in our shoes, you don't know. People think it's so easy because we make it look easy. You know, we fix ourselves up and we feeling good and we think that y'all don't know when things hit that you just don't know, y'all don't know. But every stormy cloud it's going to come out to be a shiny day. No matter what you're going through. No matter what comes in your life, ain't nothing too big for God to fix it. Now, here, I or you was so broken. I never saw a way out. I knew I had to admit to God. I knew when it got to the point of him introducing me to this yellow page book that's been sitting in my house for years and never touched it. When he told me to pick it up, I knew something strange was happening. Because first of all, I listened. Second of all, I did what he told me to do. Third thing, I ended up calling Northwest General. I had to admit to God, God, I'm ashamed. I'm full of shame. I'm carrying some things that I know I probably can't go to the grave with. Annette Riley, hey, honey, hey, Annette. I know I'm going to go and then all the behaviors and all the things that we used to hold on. Now we got to deal with that stuff clean because they tell us we can't use. When it says we admitted that we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives have become unmanageable. You know how your life became unmanageable. Don't play stupid. All you got to do is just see where you was and where you at today. You know, it's a big difference. My difference was my life was so unmanageable. I couldn't deal with it. I just kept using. The more it became unmanageable, the more I kept using. And I remember telling people, well, when I was using, I was dysfunctional addict. And my spouse had to get to me and she told me, what the hell you talking about, Renee? What's a functional addict, Renee? I said, well, I can still go to work and I can use, I can talk to God and then pick back up and go back to using. She said, but Renee, what's a functional addict? I said, because I can still do some of the stuff I was doing. And she said, well, if it was functional, if you was a functional addict, then that means you wouldn't need the program, right? One, if you're a functional addict, Renee, you wouldn't have not stopped doing the things that you normally did, like pay your bills, keep a roll of tissue paper, have some money in your pocket, right? She said, if you was a functional addict, Renee, you would be able to keep your job unless it had something to do with your health. You would have kept your job, right? She said, don't tell nobody else that. Because it ain't no functional addict. Because sooner or later, they become dysfunctional. And that was the truth. I thought I was too. I thought I was a functional addict because I can keep my car and pawn it the next month, but then I can get it back again and pawn it again. So I start shuffling, battling with my life. Man, I'm doing good. I'm using. I can still pay some bills and not pay all the bills, so I'm still good. Or I can go and pay a car note, but not all of it, but half of it. But then I want to say I'm a functional addict. Come on, Renee, come on. These are the things that we tell ourselves. We are the most manipulated and the most liars upon the disease of an addiction. Hey, Linda, how you doing? My friend Linda. How we become powerless. Man, I became powerless when I stopped washing my butt. But I'd rather get high. See, this addiction is real, so whoever ain't tried it, whoever ain't been addicted, whoever ain't used drugs and alcohol, well, I give you a star, honey, because you don't know what you're going to go through when you're up under the influence of drugs and alcohol, how many rooms it'll take you, how low it'll make your character feel, how ashamed and guilty you become, how you carrying all the weight that you seem like you can't carry no more. So my life become unmanageable. When it says, ain't no way you going to keep using and your life don't become unmanageable. Makes sense to me. I remember my sponsor telling me, they don't never tell nobody you're going to be a functional, you've been a functional addict. Functional addict comes out. If you was functional, man, you would be paying your bills, your car note, you would be doing something, but sooner or later you stop doing the things that you do. And it made sense to me. And one of me and my friends was talking about it, and when she said it, it just hit something. Because that was the thing I told my sponsor. But I know that we admitted that we were powerless. I had to admit. We all admit that we are powerless over any drug of addiction. Because you can't win with drugs. You can't win with addiction. Only thing you could do is not use. And change the way you think. And always remember, you are more than a thought. You are more than your thinking, because our thinking what got us messed up in the first place. So I always had to identify the reason why I'm feeling this way. And my life had become unmanageable. I stopped being a good mother. I used to thought I was the best mother. I thought I could take care of myself better by me using, and I take care of myself worse. I started getting health problems due to my addiction. I didn't care. The addiction of the disease, that's why I hate this disease, don't make you want to care about how you do yourself. When we was using, man, you know, when I was using, I was drinking and getting high, and I end up with diabetes. I end up with heart failure. I went in heart failure a couple times. I don't know why my heart's still ticking, but I ain't asking no question, because God got me here for a reason. For some reason, I'm finding out. And that was because I found my person. I found my way back to Renee again. And I ain't never losing her, because when you lose yourself, you lose everything. When you start living for other people, then that means you're going back. You're going back to your behaviors and your familiar comfort zone and for your familiar character. I ain't never doing that no more. If I had knew all this is all if I knew that all I had to do was this from the beginning, I probably would have been clean long time ago. But then my sponsor told me, girl, that wasn't your purpose. Your purpose was supposed to go through the journey the way you went through the journey to get to the journey, and to go through the journey. That's your purpose now. It ain't no I should have been, I could have been. We all know that. You know, I got a bad sponsor. And she don't call no punches with me, because, see, I was a hard hitter. I was a liar, manipulator, a caregiver, a protector. I protected your feelings, but let you hurt mine. I protected your feelings, but let you hurt mine. I carry so much hurt through this disease of an addiction. It ain't even funny. I went to bed with her, woke up with her. Couldn't figure my life out. Didn't care about trying to figure it out. All I knew is that I had to use. And then it got to the point where my life had become unmanageable. So what this step is saying, that we have to admit to God and to whoever, to another addict, to your mama, to God. But God was my number one man. He's always been my number one man, and that's who I'm going to continue to hold on to, because he gives me grace when I feel like I'm broken. You know, he always there for me. And the reason why I like the God of my understanding, because he don't have a certain time that I can call and pick him up. I can talk to him all through the day. I don't need no appointment. I don't need to register up. I can just talk to God on a daily basis. I had to admit to God and to everybody that I loved and cared about that I had a problem. And my life did become unmanageable, because the things that I used to love to do, it took it away. The things that I used to like to do, it took it away. The things that I admired about myself, it was no longer there. It was gone. So I got to the point where my life was unmanageable. I couldn't hold on to no money. My thinking and my thought was overrunning my whole body. You know, I started selling stuff out my house to get one more, to take one more. I started selling my body to get something that was going to cause me harm and pain in the long run. You know, I kept feeding this mental illness and my depression, these drugs and alcohol, and I didn't care. You know, my life had became very unmanageable. I started being mean. I started harboring resentments. I started hating people. I started not liking nobody. I didn't want to be around nobody. My life had become so unmanageable that I could see myself dying of an overdose, and that's what God showed me. He had to show me some things that was ugly and very scary. But I paid attention. For a change, Renee paid attention. Because I didn't want to die in this addiction. That's why I did whatever they told me, whatever my sponsor told me, whatever meeting. I remember we used to go to meeting 90 days, 90 meetings. I did it all because my life was on the line, because I had messed my life up so bad. I didn't want to be crawling on the floor. I've been crawling on the floor for too long. And it's time for me to get up and learn how to walk, and walk with a straight up head, walk with value, walk with purpose, walk with purpose. Tiana Taylor, that's my girl. Because when you see her dress and she hold her head up, no matter what she going through now, because she human just like me, but no matter what she go through, she walk with purpose. I define everything. Every loss, every hurt, every pain. My kid said to me, it was yesterday, and I was just going to, where was I going? I was going somewhere yesterday. And my kid said to me, sometimes when kids say things to you, even when you clean, you can see clearly, and you can hear very well. And I remember them telling me yesterday, say, why every time you go somewhere, you have to be matching, or everything has to be neat. And I said, y'all really want to know why I'm like that? Because my life had become unmanageable. Where I used to be clean, I became dirty. Where I used to care about hanging a picture, it didn't have to have no picture. I said, so my life had become so unmanageable. So long as everything is in its position, everything, every perfume, everything, I remind me of Denzel Washington. Everything has to be in line. You come to my house, everything has to be perfect. Because that let me know every picture, can't no picture be crooked. Because then my life is unmanageable, because I know better. That picture's supposed to be straight. So when my life become unmanageable, and I found the way for me to manage my life better than what I was, everything has to be perfect. I ain't going to say my life is perfect, or my life got to be perfect, because ain't nobody life going to be perfect. It just be better. It'll be something you can deal with without using drugs and alcohol. But what I'm saying, everything has to be in order. It has to be sitting right. My books has to be, it's crazy, but that's what happens when you find the joy and the purpose of your life, from where you went from chaotic to joy, when you went from bottom to up. And it's so many high scores you can get to when you let go of the drugs and alcohol. When I found out I ain't never got to use no matter what, that was the whole key. The whole key for me, no matter what happened, I ain't got to use no matter what. You can be next door and tell me, you got high. Okay, I'll take you to a meeting, but I ain't got to get high with you. See, ain't no more. I learned my worth. I learned how to deal with the drugs and the addiction. Long as I ain't picking it up, long as I ain't going to get it, long as it ain't around me, I ain't never got to use. And so that became a habit in my life. I ain't never got to use no more, deal with it. With everything happening, I'm waiting on something right now that's been I said, God, you know what? Yesterday I said, it's in your hand. But you know what? I ain't worried about that no more neither. Because it is what it is. If you go through life worrying about something you ain't got no control, then your life will become unmanageable, because then you'll start thinking crazy, doing crazy things, taking it out on other people. I ain't doing that no more. I ain't doing that no more. So when it says we admit that we were powerless, we had to admit it. We showed up. When we showed up at a meeting, when we showed up in inpatient, when we showed up not using every day just for today, it showed us that we were powerless over our addictions. And I had to treat all my other addictions just like I treated the drug addiction. I treat all my addictions. I had many addictions. I ain't gonna tell you I just had no one addiction. That was drug. What did my character become, and what did I do to get the drug? And getting the drug caused me to be something and do things that I normally didn't do. So that created another addiction. You know, I had a gambling addiction. I had a lying addiction. I had a sexual addiction. I had a knucklehead addiction. I had a stupid addiction. The way I was thinking addiction. I had a lot of addiction, and I had to work on one. I had to work on it and work on it and work on it. Now I have an addiction, and it's called staying clean. I can't use no matter what. No matter what, God, you took my son, you took my mother, you took my boyfriend, you took my husband, you took my godfather, you took them all, God. But hey, I still can't use because I got to continue to find out what my purpose is. You know, but God, I miss my mother and my son. Man, that was a hurdle that I never thought I can go through. I never thought I can wake up the next day and be clean and not go and picked up because I can't pick up the phone and talk to my mother no more. I can't talk to my son and hear his voice no more. So God, how I'm going to do this? Just don't use. Figure it out. Go to a meeting. Call your sponsor. I just can't use. And that's what I held on to. I was the biggest liar in the world. If I had got paid for every lie I told, I'd be a multimillionaire. I lied every day. And I thank God that He's a God that forgave us up under this addiction because He knew we was up under the influence of something else that had control over us. But when I learned how to get the tools, when it says my life had become unmanageable, my life is manageable now. And I'm so grateful to God for that. I'm grateful to the step one. I'm grateful that step one helped me look at myself and realize, you know, why I went to the drug house, why I went, why did I like to hurt, why was I in pain. It helped me understand all that. But see, it ain't just that. That's just that step. You got to get the books. You got to read. You got to read. I read a lot every night before I go to bed, if it ain't but 30 minutes. I'm going to go to bed with another knowledge that I didn't have the day before. So I can understand this disease in all angers. I ain't never used it no more. I can tell you that. For every prayer, for every God for my God to keep on holding on to me and working things out for me that I just, see, you can be clean and don't understand some things, or somebody can do some things to you, you just don't get it. But that's when working a program helps you understand. I can't stop nobody from being who they are. I just know I ain't who I used to be. That's the only thing I focus on, and I can't make you be what I want you to be because you're not going to make me be what I don't want to be. So I have to allow you to be yourself. I have to understand when, love and compassion comes in when we're not using drugs, because so much hate and unwanted and pain and misery and hurt carried us for so long to where I rather love now than to hate. I rather love now than to keep my joy. I rather love now to understand a person and then trying to hurt a person. See, your whole manner of the way you think and the way you live your life will change when you learn how not to use drugs and alcohol. It says drugs and alcohol is a disease. It is. But as long as I don't put it in me, I'm in a work in progress every day. No matter what the situation may look like, don't get fooled up what the sight may look like. My mother used to say, walk by faith and not by sight, because the sight can fool you. It can tell us. That's what happened when I was using. The sight showed me, girl, just keep using. Ain't nobody got to know. Keep stealing. Girl, you the best liar in the world. And then I get in the room and laugh about it. But honey, the laugh was on me at the end because my life had become unmanageable. And so I thank y'all. I'm ready to close. I feel so much better. I've been sick with that flu, and it had me this time. I never had the flu like that, but God's grace got me out of it. Next week, I hope I gave somebody some insight on what all these steps mean in our lives. I break it down the way I see it. You can break it down the way you see it. It's meant to be broken down It don't matter how many times you break it down, long as you find an answer. Long as you get some out of that. And I get some out of next week. Sunday we'll be on step 2. This is a good one here. No, this made me go through some changes on this one. It says, we come to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. That's a good one there. That's step 2. We come to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to some sanity. That's a good one. May God bless y'all. Thank y'all for coming on here. Thank y'all for being a part of my process. Thank me for being a part of my own process. And thank God that I'm more than my thought. I'm more than my thinking. That's a true saying. Because sometimes what comes in our heads and the way we think and how we be thinking, we got to be more than that in order to survive and stay around and do what we need to do. So God bless y'all. Be nice and kind to someone. I hope I have helped someone. Today. I ask God to guide my tongue every time I come on here. I always come up here I'm a builder. I'm a faith builder. I talk about faith. I talk about God. I talk about self-worth. I talk about purpose. I talk about my priority of what I want to do in my life. It ain't just no one subject with me. It's whatever God put in me, that's what I'm going to give y'all. And that's what I did today. And whenever he give me something, it works out for the best. So I'll see y'all next Friday at 8 o'clock. And I don't know what subject I'll be talking on, but it will have something to do with addiction. But whatever God give me, he give it to me. And I use it. And it always works. God bless you. And do something nice and kind for somebody today. If it ain't nothing but a kind word. Always do something nice, or fix a plate, or do this, or do that. You know, that's what I do. That's one of my purpose. Is to be better than I used to be. And never think that I can never learn no more. Because I am learnable and I am teachable. So God bless you. Have a good evening. Enjoy your Sunday. And stay warm. Because it's cold outside. Love y'all. Talk to you later.